Good day, it's Constantine. Welcome to the third video of the SE-02 custom patches, where we ditch the presets and create sounds on our own. Now we have looked at creating drums and bass. So the next logical step would be to look at some patches that can be used for melody, sound design, soloing, etc. Now, before we begin, let me be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure of what I'm doing. And that is fine. I have a sound on my mind and I know how to get there, let's say 70 or 60% of the way. The rest will be experimenting, trying new stuff that might fail or actually give us something surprisingly good. Now sometimes we'll get some happy accidents, and that happens quite often with synthesizers. So my advice is learn the basics, how its waveform sounds, how they behave in combination, how they react to combining them with feedback, LFO, the basics, and you'll be halfway there for most things that you want to create. So that was a long intro to tell you that I might be experimenting a bit more to get the sound that I want, and some parts may take longer than anticipated. In any case, let's dive into it. Since it's almost October and my North American friends love their Halloween, let's start with something appropriate. Now let's try and make something spooky, something maybe close to theremin. Okay, so I'm just going to use one oscillator, so let's take 2 and 3 down. So let's go 4 feet, and I want a waveform that's not bright, so either reverse sawtooth is fine, or we can just go triangle, which is the least bright wave. There we are, don't want any emphasis. That's fine, okay, sustain all the way. Just a bit of modulation. Okay, let's engage the LFO now. I want filter LFO and smoother waveform, so let's put it on sine. Let's take the cutoff down. Let's engage the filter, the delay. And let's engage the glide. That's too exponential. It's already more spooky. Of course, I'm exaggerating the effect. Just a bit of feedback. Not exactly a theremin, but it kind of has that spooky feeling. Let's try and do some cheap synth strings. For this one, I'm also going to use just one oscillator, so these are fine. Let's leave it at 4 feet, that's okay, but let's change we need something brighter. So let's go to the square waves. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, no feedback, no noise. Let's take the cutoff down a bit. Let's raise the resonance. The filter sustain down a bit. Have a slower attack for both filter and amp envelope. Let's do some LFO. Actually, that actually feels spookier than the previous parts, which I really want to be spooky. Anyways, let's see how I can make it less spooky. Glide feels fine. Okay, I'm going to take the resonance all the way up until it distorts, and then just back off until it doesn't. There. You know, sort of like cheap synth strings from a different decade. Oh, and some afterthoughts. Forgot I had it. Okay, let's try something that makes use of different octaves, and let's use all the oscillators. So let's turn them up. I don't know how much of each I'm going to use yet, so let's try this one. So let's do 2 feet. Let's do 16 feet. And let's do 8 feet as well. Okay, let's do... I don't want a bright wave here. Let's do for all of them a triangle wave. Going to take the glide off. Okay. Some delay as well. Yeah, something like that, something a bit dirtier that makes use of all the octaves. Now let's try something in the spirit of the previous one, but let's try and make it sound more like an organ. Okay, let's see, let's go 8 feet. 16 is fine. Oh, let's add something really high in there, so let's go 2 feet. Let's use a less bright waveform. Let's go for triangle for all 3. It's fine, let's take the cutoff down. No feedback. Key track on. Bit of contour. Let's have some delay. You see, that gives a sense of space as well, because it works like a slap delay if you have small time amount. Let's use some LFO as well. Sine wave is fine. Oh, there it has that wobbly kind of sound that the organ has. Yeah, it sounds like an organ. Yeah, let's put some glide as well. Okay, since we've started doing some organs, let's try and do something a bit more aggressive, like a rock Hammond. If you have watched the previous video on bass, we will use the same technique to create that thump at the beginning of the note, you know, when you play the organ, and that's the very first time you press the key, you hear that thump at the beginning. Okay, let's start. Let's see, let's just combine two oscillators, so let's have one at 8 and one at 16 feet. Yeah, but I want a different, let's take the feedback down. I want a different waveform, something brighter. Let's go with pulse, let's go with square waves. That's fine. Let's take the cutoff down a bit of emphasis. That's fine. Let's do some modulation. So I'm trying to get to the point where just have that thump at the beginning. That's too much now. Let's add some feedback as well, because I want to be more aggressive, more raw. It's a bit much. Something like that, maybe with a bit more feedback. Let's put some delay on it to have some slap delay, give a sense of space. So a small amount of time. Yeah, the LFO sounds nice. So you see it has a bit of that thump at the beginning, and we can make it more aggressive by engaging a bit of the filter, of the feedback. It's too much. Well, let's continue in the same spirit and let's try something similar, but this time let's try with less thump and something a bit more electronic. Let's use all the oscillators. I'm actually going to take this one all the way down to 32. Let's change the waveforms as well. Let's do sawtooth for everything. We have different octaves, so 32, 16, let's do half that, 8. Let's take the feedback down for now. Let's take the cutoff down. Something like that. You know, something like an organ, more electronic with less thump. Yeah, of course you can experiment with, let's add some feedback. Even more aggressive. Right, let's try something different. Let's do 8 feet. So I'm on the previous parts. Let's do 16 feet. Let's do 8, but In this one, let's do a square wave and 2 sawtooths. Let's turn sync on. Turn them all the way up. Let's try a lot of modulation. Drag up. Don't want any emphasis. Let's try something dirtier, like almost like a distorted guitar. Let's see, let's use all 3 oscillators. Let's do 16 feet, 8, 16 feet, but different waveforms. So let's go triangle with this one. I don't want it bright. Let's do triangle for this one as well. Sawtooth is fine. Of modulation. That's fine. Let's do a bit of modulation. And of course, let's turn the feedback up. Let's add some glide. Linear is fine. Maybe a bit of LFO. Let's try and use a more aggressive wave. Let's go for triangle instead of sine wave. Yeah, something like that. Let's try more feedback. Let's do a few Plucky instruments, sort of like a koto, maybe. Okay, let's see. Let's just use for starters 2 oscillators. Let's do 16 feet and let's do 4 feet. Let's use something semi-bright, so pulse will do fine. So I want in delay for now. No feedback either. That's okay. Sync. I'm going to sync on. Okay, let's see. Let's put some emphasis. I'm gonna leave 2/3 of key track on. Let's do release for this one. Going to use a lot of contour. Take the decay down of the filter, listen to the difference. It's too much. About there. Let's use some feedback. And let's use some delay as well. Now let's engage this envelope right here. Too much. About there. the colors all the way down, so what we're hearing is the feedback and the extreme amount of contour. Let's continue with a plucky sound. Let's do something that has a bit more weight to it. Let's do something richer. Let's try adding an octave lower, and let's go all the way down to 32 feet. Okay, take this down. Let's do something less bright. Let's go triangle for everything. No feedback, no noise. Less of that 32 feet in there. And let's put some delay in as well now. Like slap delay. You see, it still has that kind of plucky quality to it, but it's richer. Because we have the 32 feet in there as well. Has a bit more meat than the previous ones. Well, let's continue with the plucky sounds. Let's see what we can do. Let's do 4 feet, let's do 8 feet, and let's leave that 32 feet, that's fine, but let's do brighter waveforms. So, narrow pulse, let's do narrow pulse for this one, and let's do a semi-bright sound. Let's do the reverse sawtooth. Less contour, open up the filter, let's take the kick drum off. Let's add some LFO as well. Let's go reverse sawtooth. Yeah, something like that. Let's see without the LFO. Let's see with the LFO. Let's try different octaves. Feedback and some noise. Bit more aggressive than the previous ones. Let's go back to something dirtier a bit. So let's see, let's use 2 oscillators. Let's go for 8 feet for both, and I'm just going to turn sync on. Let's do a normal square wave. Okay. Let's have a lot of contour. Should take the filter down a lot. Some emphasis, no key track, no attack. Okay, let's raise that. strum some LFO as well. Some filter LFO. Okay, let's end this video with something crazy. Let's do some weird sound design, something very wacky. Okay, for this one, let's use 2 oscillators. Actually, let's use one, but put it on sync. So if it's on sync, even though oscillator 2 will be down, if I engage cross modulation, that will affect our filter. So let's do 8 feet, let's do 16 feet for the second one. Let's put it on sawtooth. Let's do square wave. Take this down for now. So I'm going to put the first cross modulation knob all the way up. Actually, since that is up, I can turn down all of the oscillators. All the way up, all the way up. No key track. Let's use some LFO as well. No delay. Actually, this is a very good idea. I should probably make the fourth part being crazy like that, just weird sounds for sound design. But in any case, that concludes this part of the video. Thank you so much for watching.